Assalamu alaikum, this is Maria Zulfikar welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Everyone must work together to make Bangladesh greener, says Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Meeting of Cabinet Committee formed to review and finalize draft of Cybersecurity Amendment Act 2026 held. Government committed to protecting people's interests, establishing good governance and justice, says Home Minister. Government stands by every flood-hit people, says Disaster Management and Relief Minister. US resumes blockade of Iranian ports as Trump threatens to attack Iranian power plants and bridges unless agreement signed next week. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has sought the support of primary school teachers in building a human Bangladesh, stressing that alongside academic learning, children must be taught moral values, compassion, culture, and responsibility towards nature from an early age. He made the call while addressing the Primary Education Medal 2026 award ceremony at the Bangladesh-China Friendship Conference Center in the capital Agargaon today. Referring to the government's election pledge, Tariq Rahman said strengthening primary education remained one of its highest priorities, describing primary schools, teachers and students as the three key pillars of nation building. He said the government is working to address teachers' problems while improving their professional skills through better training. The Prime Minister said primary teachers had the greatest opportunity to instill values such as honesty, respect, responsibility and discipline in children from an early age. Education Minister Dr. A.N.M. Ehsanul Haq Milon, State Minister for Primary and Mass Education Bobby Hajjaj, Prime Minister's Advisor on Education and Primary and Mass Education Dr. Mahdi Amin and Primary and Mass Education Secretary Mohammad Shakawat Hussain also addressed the program. Later, a cultural program featuring students from the primary education community was performed. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman enjoyed the cultural program. Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister inaugurated a nationwide tree plantation program by planting a sapling at the venue under the Green School initiative. He planted a neem sapling. Addressing school children, Tariq Rahman said everyone must work together to make Bangladesh greener and urged children to plant at least one tree each every year. Earlier, Prime Minister visited stalls set up by schools from 60 districts where students and teachers showcased innovative classroom practices, creative projects, joyful learning activities, digital education initiatives, and local cultural heritage.
আমার প্রিয় বাংলাদেশ, সবার আগে বাংলাদেশ।
A meeting of the Cabinet Committee formed to review and finalize the draft Cybersecurity Amendment Act 2026 was held today. The meeting took place at the Secretariat in the morning and was chaired by Post's Telecommunications and Information Technology Minister Fakir Mahbub Anam, who serves as the convener of the committee. Among those present were Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed, Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shapun, Law, Justice and Parliament Affairs Minister Muhammad Asaduzzaman, State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Yasir Khan Chaudhry, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Shama Ubaid Islam, Prime Minister's Advisor on Posts, Telecommunication and Information Technology Rehan Asif Asad, and senior officials from various ministries. During the meeting, the committee held detailed discussions on the draft Cybersecurity Amendment Act 2026, reviewed its provisions and formulated recommendations for its finalization. Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed has described human trafficking and migrant smuggling as global challenges, stressing the need for effective legal and policy measures to combat these crimes. He made the remarks this morning while addressing a national awareness program titled National Consultation on the Prevention and Suppression of Human Trafficking and Migrant Smuggling Act 2026 held at the Intercontinental Hotel in Dhaka. The discussion focused on a number of government initiatives aimed at protecting the interests of the people, strengthening good governance, ensuring transparency in the justice system, and promoting overall national development. Speakers at the event noted that human trafficking is a transnational crime that requires international cooperation, greater information sharing, stronger protection for victims, and measures to ensure safe migration. The Home Minister said the nature of crime is evolving with advances in technology. He emphasized that there is no alternative to strengthening law enforcement agencies through the use of modern technology and a skilled workforce to effectively tackle these emerging challenges. The event was chaired by Senior Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs Monjur Morshad Chaudhry. Other speakers included British High Commissioner to Bangladesh Sarah Cook, U.S. Ambassador Brent T. Christensen, and Foreign Secretary Asad Alam Siam. Disaster Management and Relief Minister Asadul Habib Dulu said the government stands by the side of every family affected by the flood. The flood situation is being monitored by round the clock in control rooms at the district and upazila levels. He said this while visiting the flood situation and distribution relief in Bashkhali and Shatkania in Chattogram today. He said that about 8 lakh people have been affected and 15 people lost their lives due to the floods caused by heavy rains that started on July 5 in Chattogram district. Extensive relief activities are underway in coordination with the government and the private sector. The minister first visited the flood situation and canal excavation activities in Khankanabad Union of Bashkhali Upazila. Later, he distributed relief materials as a gift from the Prime Minister to 650 affected families. Chattogram Deputy Commissioner Muhammad Zahidul Islam Mia, Additional Deputy Commissioner A.L.M. Muhammad Kamruzzaman, senior officials of the Upazila administration and local political leaders were present on the occasion. Later, he handed over emergency relief assistance to 1,400 more flood-affected people in Shatkania's Auchia Union and Dharmapur Bishohat areas. 85 lakh taka and 1,200 metric tons of rice have been allocated by the government in Chattogram district so far. In addition, relief distribution is continuing through various government and private organizations. Meanwhile, flood water has started receding in most areas of the district. Disaster Management and Relief Minister Asadul Habib Dulu exchanged views with senior administrative officials, public representatives and various non-governmental organizations on the preparations and actions taken to deal with the post-flood situation in Chattogram, held at Lee's night in the conference room of the Chattogram Circuit House. The minister joined the UNOs of various upazilas on an online platform to find out the extent of damage at the district and divisional levels of Chittagong and the status of subsequent relief work. In the meeting, the relief minister said that the necessary manpower, relief materials and other assistance have been kept ready to deal with an emergency situation. The minister urged all the concerned organizations to work in a coordinated manner to reduce the impact of the disaster as well as people to follow the necessary precautions. Member of Parliament Syed Al-Noman, City Mayor Dr. Shadat Hussain, CDA Chairman Engineer Belayat Hussain, Divisional Commissioner Dr. Ziauddin, Deputy Commissioner Muhammad Zahidul Islam Mia, Local Government Director Monowara Begum, Civil Surgeon Dr. Muhammad Jahangir Alam, representatives of the Army, Navy, Fire Service and Civil Defense, Disaster Management Department and various related organizations, among others, were present in the meeting. State Minister for Power, Energy and Mineral Resources Onindo Islam Amit said about 1,085,000 people in 5 districts of Chattogram division have been affected by the recent flash floods. He shared the information while briefing reporters on the flood situation and rehabilitation activities at the Chattogram Circuit House today. He said the worst affected by this flood were Rangunia, Shatkania, Chondonaish, Boalkhali and Shondip in Chittagong, Ramu, Pekua, Chokoria and Matarbari, in Cox's Bazar, Baghaichori and Borkol in Rangamati, Dighinala and Ponchori in Khagrachori and Shodor and Noakhnsha in Bandorban. The briefing also informed that the government has already distributed more than 2,000 metric tons of rice, more than 1.75 crore taka in cash and a large amount of dry and cooked food in 5 districts to help the affected people. State Minister hoped that the flood-affected people will be able to return to normal life, though the implementation of long-term rehabilitation plans among with government relief activities. Bangladesh observed a state mourning today marking the death of former Qatar Emir Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. As part of the mourning, the national flag would fly at half-mast at all government, semi-government and autonomous organizations, educational institutions, government and private buildings and Bangladesh missions abroad. Special prayers were held at mosques across the country, while other places of worship and institutions will also organize prayers seeking eternal peace for the departed soul. Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, one of the architects of modern Qatar and the country's former emir, passed away on July 12. Now, international news. The United States has reimposed its naval blockade on Iranian ports less than a month after signing what was supposed to be a step towards peace. U.S. forces are now blocking traffic coming to and from Iranian ports and the country's coastal areas, but Iran says its control over the Strait of Hormuz will not be compromised. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, on Wednesday said it concluded its latest wave of attacks on Iran in response to the Iranian attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Hours after the blockade was reinstated, Iranian state media reported an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz without providing further details. Iran said it had launched strikes at U.S. military assets in Bahrain, Kuwait and Jordan after a 4th straight night of heavy attacks on Iranian targets by U.S. forces. The Iranian Ministry of Health said more than 260 people were injured in overnight U.S. attacks in Iran. Tehran also said more than 30 civilians have been killed in the latest round of U.S. attacks. A 13-missile barrage fired by the United States in the south has killed 7 Iranian troops in what the military called cowardly aggression, while vowing retaliation. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) meanwhile said it launched retaliatory drone and missile attacks on U.S. military assets in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan overnight. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) also threatened to close all other export corridors that benefit the U.S. and its allies. Iranian media reported after its forced hand effectively shut the Strait of Hormuz by attacking or threatening vessels. Analysts have interpreted the IRGC's new threat against other export routes as Iran signaling that it may use its Houthis allies in Yemen to shut the Bab el-Mandeb gateway to the Red Sea. A closure of both Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb would put two of the world's most vital energy arteries at risk. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump on Tuesday threatened to hit Iranian power plants and bridges next week if Tehran does not make a deal. Days of retaliatory attacks by Iran and the United States, along with both sides' efforts to assert control over the strategic waterway, have raised fears of a return to a full-scale war in the Middle East. An Israeli drone attack has targeted a police station in northern Gaza's Jabalia camp, killing at least 8 people. According to Gaza's Interior Ministry, among those killed were at least 6 police personnel, including the station's director. The ministry called the attack a horrific massacre against officers and members of the police force. The Jabalia attack is the latest in a near-daily litany of deadly Israeli strikes in Gaza that have continued regularly despite a ceasefire agreed last October. At least 9 people were killed and around a dozen others injured in fresh clashes between supporters of a banned protest group and security forces in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The violence erupted on Tuesday after supporters of the Joint Army Action Committee (ZAC), which has been demanding economic and governance reforms, announced plans to march towards the regional capital Muzaffarabad despite official warnings. An official in Poonch district has said on Wednesday 7 civilians, 1 paramilitary personnel and 1 police officer were killed during the unrest. The latest violence comes weeks after the local government banned the ZAC under anti-terrorism laws in June. Clashes following the ban left 22 people dead, according to official figures compiled by AFP. ZAC supporters have rejected the terrorist designation, calling it an act of oppression and insisting their movement seeks legitimate economic and political rights.